Hey everyone, nerdygymbros here, and today we're talking about one of my most anticipated games for whenever the hell it comes out, Ghost of Tsushima. This game looks absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I'll go out on them and say in just top 5 most beautiful scenery-looking games I've ever seen. I mean, the wind, the lighting, the background,
That's the thing.
the music.
Yeah. When you look at it as a whole, not just like how the characters look, we're looking at the environment, how definitely that
And even
last...
the characters look fucking great.
I wasn't saying the characters didn't look great, I was just saying you look even beyond the characters with the final duel, for instance, when it's in the video that they had where it was...
I love how like the leaves move with their feet, like all of a sudden they dash and it's like...
Yeah, where the guy was fighting his friend, as they're dashing, I mean, leaves are being picked up and thrown, wind's blowing, and...
I don't think I've ever seen wind be such like and what I mean by that is, you've had other games that have done wind, but that wind, to me, looks the most realistic. How it's moving the fields and everything, the sound of it, just... Who knew wind could like really make the atmosphere of it just that much intense? I mean, you even look at, like you were saying, like the ending fight, when the Mongols are shooting their arrows over and the wind's blowing this way and just shit's going crazy. It's just, I am very excited about this game.
The thing with that final duel and with what Ghost of Tsushima did throughout the entire original E3 demo and everything, is that it's not just the music that's helping set the mood, it's not just how the characters are, or when the characters speak, it's not them also saying move, it's literally the environment. I mean, when you're going up the hill with your horse, which I think was called like Nomu or something like that, I think is what I heard him call it.
I think you're right, but I honestly didn't catch the name. I was in awestruck mode, still like...
When you're going up that cliff to go look down at the wheat fields or field of reeds or whatever.
Field of reeds.
I'm just, I don't know, that one was a joke, but when you're looking at all the plants moving down there,
I think it was wheat, so let's just stick with
but
it.
whatever. The point is, when you're first walking up to the cliff, how the light from the sun is hitting the cliff and the sky and everything in of itself, and how the vision of the camera when it's looking that way is like very how it would be realistically if that's where the sun was and where he's standing. But the wheat fields and then in that final duel,
even like
red leaves and the sun in the background and the fire being started because the fire arrows that the Mongols shot at it. The entire environment, just in that short demo, including the wind within that as well, was setting the mood for the things. I mean, definitely that final duel with these red leaves.
To me, it's storytelling at its finest, where storytelling goes beyond words. It's atmosphere, it's sound, it's feeling, it's music, and like in real life, it's taste and everything else. I mean, the atmosphere sets the mood, and it goes to
how were you tasting in that video?
Everything. And even like the beginning of the trailer, and when he goes up onto the hill and he looks out, I mean, you have that, just the scenery itself. Obviously, we're already talking about wind and everything, but you have like buildings burning over there. You have this big rainstorm coming down that looks like a real rainstorm, you know? And then it was gorgeous, and then I don't know if this is right or not, but it looked like that way to me. Did the time of day change? Because
I would say...
Because I swore at the ending fight, it wasn't nighttime, but it seemed like it was...
I would say that it's possible that time had passed, because, I mean, there was a cut scene in there with when you meet the one lady, but that wasn't enough for the sun to suddenly be even higher. But I would
think it seemed like it was more evening. Like it wasn't midday when you looked over. It was still evening, but it seemed like the sun shifted even more.
I would say that it was probably just position of where the characters are, how the environment around them affects the sunlight, and possibly maybe some time had passed in there more than we think that.
I understand. To me, when they were going into the fight, I swore that time had passed. At least it felt like that way to me. Just how the atmosphere felt, it seemed like some time had passed.
It's possible that the environment changed for
the mood
of the fight, or that they changed the environment specifically in the demo so that it would reflect a certain mood for that fight. If whether or not that fight actually happens when we play the game, I mean, it could just be something that they cooked up for that specific demo. But
yeah, because I think at the beginning it was like day 9 of the invasion.
Yeah, they said it was. Yeah, I think day 7 or day 9. It was an odd number from what I can remember. But it's possible that the scenery changed for the scene. It's possible that there's more that we missed out on. I mean, there was the cutscene immediately. There's cutscene with the monk person that they saved. I mean, it's possible that those themselves advance time for the story-based mission. But it's also possible that it's just the difference of position of where they were. I mean, they weren't on flat land where they were fighting.
Yeah, it's hilly land.
It's possible that where they were standing, plus the general environment beyond the hill that they were on, might have affected how the sun was coming through. It's possible that the tree that we were fighting next to also affected how the light was coming through. But
either way, I loved it. I mean, all I was saying is I thought it was brilliant, whether it was the time shifted or, like you said, maybe it was through the cutscene or maybe it was just the tree. Either way, I loved it, but it was just amazing. What did you think about the combat? That first fight, that made me giddy.
I want to say I wouldn't call it a fight, but it is a fight because it's realistic in how a samurai, or how, granted, I don't know how literal samurai fought way back when. I don't know the ins and outs of their techniques. I don't know how literal battles were fought. I know from watching movies and stuff how Hollywood and all those kind of things can go, and how in different video games how they've handled combat differently in each thing. But what I like about Ghost of Tsushima is that it feels authentic based on some of the articles that I read, is that they are having a literal samurai do the mocap for the character that you're playing as, who's the last samurai, I think, of Tsushima. But it felt authentic and still.
I thought it was amazing how quick it was.
Yeah, and it felt authentic and entertaining simultaneously. Where, I mean, obviously the first
blow, I was like, oh my god,
is what I come to expect just from samurai stuff in general. Not because I think it's how they fought or anything, just because that's always kind of a trademark thing to just whip the sword out and kill someone. So, from what little mundane knowledge I know, it felt very authentic to how a literal samurai fight. Because my problem with a lot of sword fighting games in general, when they do it, is that whether it's based on sword fighting or it's an RPG or whatever, is that I shouldn't have to stab you 100 times to kill you. It's ridiculous. I don't care if you're leveling up enemies because I'm leveling up and you're giving them more health, so I can't just clobber through them. You wouldn't do that with a gun. Don't do it with a sword, you know? Headshot's always going to kill a person, 9 times out of 10, depending on how lucky they are, where you hit them in the face. But
I was saying unlucky.
Unlucky, I guess, yeah. But it shouldn't take me 120, whatever number you want to say, regardless of hyperbole, to kill someone. So, in a video game, and obviously in real life, but obviously I'm not going to be killing people in real life, that'd be fucked up. But, so for the combat to me to be very authentic looking and still entertaining in that there's not the, glowing symbols of dodge now or counter now. It looks like...
Which I really liked.
I wasn't dissing that. Which I liked a lot about that, because it's like, okay, to me it's like, okay, it's going to be kind of in a similar essence of a Dark Souls. It's not going to handicap itself for you. It's going to... Granted, they might be,
I'm sure there'll be somewhat of a tutorial or something.
There might be a tutorial, or I assume there's usually always a tutorial, but I assume that maybe there's possibly they're going to have a HUD option where you can turn on that kind of
I'll
stuff.
tell you right now, I'm playing without the HUD.
Yeah, I will.
There will be no HUD, there will be no subtitles,
Yeah.
my screen's just gonna be beautiful.
There'll be no subtitles unless I choose to play in like the Japanese language.
Oh yeah, I would do that.
But because of how the combat played out, where looks like you're gonna have to pay really close attention to the fight that you're in. It's not just hack and slash, button mash, and let yourself take a bunch of damage because you have an infinite health.
But even look at that last boss fight. He got hit a few times, and I thought watching it, I was like, is he gonna die in the demo?
Probably not, but
That's happened. That's what I mean. I mean, it's happened in other people's doing the demos.
But I feel like the combat itself, even though it's very short and sweet from this, I mean, you had 3 battles total. You had the first one that they showed, you have the stealth zone, which
Speaking of the stealth, I loved, I don't know if it's a grappling hook per se, but I loved it that he's swinging it and jumped, tossed it, caught it. I wasn't expecting that, at all.
That's where I'll say that the authenticity kind of goes away, because let's face it, if you run, jump, throw the thing, and miracle, you get it on the first hit, your momentum is still going to take you flying into the wall.
Right, I know what you're trying to do, because they're not going to land soft.
You're not going to land soft. They're going to fucking hear you in that house.
It's not the point, Ty.
I know. That's a very, very, very small nitpick that doesn't bother me whatsoever. It's just that's where the one authenticity part I can say goes, okay, that's not authentic, because momentum still exists in life, and it's still going to cause sound. Call yourself a ghost all you want, you're going to hit that wall and it's going to make sound.
And I was sitting there in my head trying to think about, alright, how can I position myself to land softly?
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying,
but otherwise, that's a ridiculous nitpick. It has no bearing on how much I'm going to enjoy the game at all. That's
fucking ridiculous. I'm just gonna...
It's like too much water. It was too beautiful, okay? The game was just too beautiful. I can't handle this. Downgrade to level 9. Or 9 out of 10, whatever. Anyways, but the stealth itself looks like it's going to be... The stealth kill will remind me about Middle-earth Shadow of War, in that...
In what way?
When they crouched their way over and chose who they were going to kill, first, you got to chain your stealth kills. I mean, that was a skill in Middle-earth Shadow of War, where you could chain your stealth kills in it. And so for them to chain their stealth kills, I was like, oh, that kind of reminds me of Middle-earth Shadow of War.
I approve of it. Which I like the little dagger that he has.
Which I actually like, because it's...
And I'm sure it's not called a dagger, but...
Yeah, it's probably not called a dagger, but... In the... I don't know how realistic it is. Granted, once again, I'm not saying it because it's not realistic, it's not good, but I don't know how realistic it would be for how highly trained samurai to jump down, kill within seconds. I don't know how possible it is, if the other trained soldiers would still have that moment of shock that they didn't really get their bearings fast enough to save one of the 3. But regardless of whether that's realistic or not, I think that was a really cool sequence. And I also like how, from what I can tell, most of that was all gameplay up to the cutscene where he's taking the monk away. And it, to me, looks like there's
What was the deal with the monk again? Did he kill her family betrayed her family?
But what I was going to say before the monk part is when he stabs his sword through to kill
the paper? Okay, let me stop you there. The sound that it made, it sounded like paper being ripped, and I loved that. And I loved how you had that shadow, he's approaching you, you have the shadow, and you see him with the horn, I'm sitting there like, kill him?
Yeah, but they wanted...
Obviously, some things like that will happen, and that's cool, but I thought it was brilliant, and just the sound of it, it made me very happy.
But something that I don't know if I'm noticing it as a literal feature, or if it is or if I'm misinterpreting what I'm saying, is when he stabs his sword through and kills the one dude, and then it goes back to gameplay, it doesn't look like it's a literal cut. To me, it doesn't seem like that's going to be a literal cutscene for that small of a scene. It's more of a
cinematic kill?
Cinematic final kill of the duel. Because there was another scene, I don't remember if it, obviously it would have had to been the first fight that they encountered in.
Are you talking about when he gets taken down by the arrow from the chick? Because that to me was story based.
No, not that, I'm talking about before that, when, I think it was before the guy got taken down by the arrow and went into that cutscene, because that to me seemed like a triggered moment when you get to a certain point. But I think there's a scene in that first fight that I felt that once again that the final kill appeared to be like a cutscene, but to me it seemed like it was more of a cinematic final death, where rather than a literal cutscene.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember where that was or why I felt that way prior to that. But what I liked about how to me it seems like it's more of a cinematic death scene is that one, it goes into it pretty seamlessly and out of it seamlessly back in the gameplay. But if it is a cinematic death scene, I think there's going to be a lot of cool moments that are
throughout the game
that are created because that you might not experience because you didn't attack the situation in the same way that I did when I played it, or vice versa. And I think
like basically like if he ends up with a bow and arrow or something, like not a slow-mo, but like a headshot or something like that, or a throwing knife or whatever the case may be.
In a way of that kind of thing, but just the point being that I think that if it is more of a cinematic final kill where whatever you do to kill the final person all of a sudden kind of gets its own cinematic kind of thing, I think that would be a pretty cool thing to do with it.
Completely.
Just because, and if it goes through always seamlessly, just because it's going to give a lot of moments to a player in the game where they stealth kill 3 people in a row, the guy blows a horn and you stab him through paper and his horn gets cut off because of it. Whether or not, like I said, that was a scene that they created for the demo, or if it's literally a cutscene, or if it is a cinematic, just final death thing based on how you killed the person, I don't know. But I think that in of itself, if it is the cinematic
if it is what you
death
think
scene,
it is, I think that would be pretty damn awesome.
Be pretty awesome. I also think that overall, I mean, they showed from the one video we watched with it, I mean, it's a very short demo, but I mean, it's still really awesome. But
honestly, it's one of my favorite ones that was shown.
But I think that the open world portion of it is probably going to be a lot of fun. I'm wondering if it's going to be going more Witcher-y. Like, I wonder if the mission that they were doing was literally a main mission, or granted, it could have been created for the demo, but I wonder if it was like a side mission.
Because,
like
and the reason why I say that is because I remember when E3 was going on and everything, I remember hearing somebody talk about how that was just a side mission, something you came upon, and you met up with her earlier or whatever, and I think that was what it was. So
if it was a side mission, I hope that Ghost of Tsushima is going towards a Witcher kind of thing with it, just because The Witcher 3 specifically, the side missions of it were all just entertaining. They weren't just fetch quests.
I mean, as you said before, Witcher 3 is the pinnacle of gaming.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that with Ghost of Tsushima, that it's going to be this awesome open world and everything, but they don't just create it, make it look beautiful and everything, because, I mean, that in of itself is a win, that the world looks beautiful, but when they fill it with missions and everything, I'm hoping that they're going to go more Witcher with it and not go, fetch quests, don't just put collectibles at the ass ends of everywhere just so you force the player to go and see the areas. I'm hoping that the areas of it themselves, one, make you want to explore, but that there's a lot of story-based things throughout this.
That's my biggest complaint with a few games, is they're beautiful, but there's not enough story content.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to be very story-based. I mean,
Sucker Punch did Infamous?
I can't remember. Like, I was going to say that earlier, but I don't remember.
Well, Spider-Man was done by the guys that did Sunset Overdrive, so
that's Insomniac, I think.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know if that was... Yeah, regardless, so Because I always got them confused.
If Sucker Punch was the ones who did Infamous Second Son, it would be fantastic because that was a great story.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If they're the ones that did Infamous, because I think
there's even choices in Delson's story.
I think there are choices in all three.
I didn't play it.
Well, I didn't either, but I think I've heard that you had choices in all three of them.
Mm.
So, whether or not Ghost of Tsushima has choices, that won't be
It
a
won't
make
be
or,
a turn on or a turn off for me.
yeah,
I mean,
I'm make or break for me.
I've always wanted back in the day Japanese samurai game. Like, and the thing is, there was games that were like that. Not like that, but there's like Way of the Samurai. We used to play that crap out of that back in the day. But I think it was the second one we used to play all the time. But that's besides the point. But I've always wanted something like this, and for them to
It's like when Black Flag finally came out, and they're like,
Yeah.
here's the pirate game you've always wanted your entire gaming life.
Yeah, so this had, like I said at the beginning of the video, this is one of my most anticipated games, and I am keeping my eyes peeled.
Yeah. One thing I'll say about the combat real quick before we end this is, and on choice, one, back to the first battle, I like, and my comments about how don't make me stab someone 100 times to kill them, but I like how fast-paced the battle sequence was in the first one, and how, I mean...
You went for the death like that, and the one thing, sorry to interrupt, but the one thing I really liked about the final boss when you're battling Friend, he wasn't trying to kill her. It was just getting her to the point of, stop, knock it off, I'm not your enemy. I love how he just basically, like, I don't know if it's called a judo flip, but basically just grabbed
hip
her.
toss, judo flip,
Hip toss, yeah. Hip tossed her right on the ground, and that was
We don't know crap about martial arts.
But I like the difference in it, you know?
Yeah. But, well...
Obviously you have invading Mongolians, and then you have your friend,
But in the fast-paced of it, and that I like about it, and with the fact that you're not having stabbed someone 100 times with it, but I like how...
Did one of those guys lose his arm? I swear the guy with the staff lost his...
It's possible.
His right arm.
But what I like about how the samurai sword is that it's not a blunt instrument, in that when he, like, finishing blow-wise, when he would stab the two people...
It seemed like it was just cutting through butter.
Yeah, it's a very... They made the sword exceptionally sharp, like a samurai sword would be, where it cuts through the armor when he does the kill blows like it's nothing.
Yeah, and I actually really like that. Like when you walk over to...
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing how the sword play and everything works out, and how, if it stays as cool as it is. But what I'll say, the final thing that I'll say about the final boss fight thing is I wonder if killing her was a choice.
Like if it could be a choice?
Yeah, if they would have stopped dodging around and trying and doing non-kill blows basically, and instead of...
you're talking about from the player's perspective based on your attacks. Will you kill her or will you not?
Yeah, I wonder if that is a choice to kill her there.
Oh, so like instead of doing a hip toss...
Yeah.
Kill her?
Or just because, exclude a hip toss completely, where you just, instead of dodging around and, trying to let him talk sense to her,
go on
the attack immediately and try, not button mash obviously, but try to actually kill her, that you might actually end up killing her. I wonder if
that'd definitely
is
be
an
interesting
choice kind of thing with it, or if it is literally just...
Well, I think that'd be interesting, because to me that add another layer to the game. Are you going to sit there and you're going to try to... to me it's like... I don't know if it's a good reference or not, but Far Cry 4, where Megan tells you to sit and wait. Pagan, what did I say?
Megan.
He's the extra villain. Pagan Man.
His evil cousin.
Yeah. Tells you to wait and sit, and then...
That was the guy that was his double.
Yeah.
That was Megan.
That was Megan. But if you tell you to wait and sit, you get the ending of the game, where if you don't, you run up and kill.
They should have gave you the achievement for doing that, for beating the game for that, because I would have never played the rest.
I actually enjoyed
Not that I didn't enjoy Far Cry 4, it's just because...
The ending choices between the Vita and
yeah, I would have just picked Pagan Man, and I would have gone through and played it anyways, but I would have picked that as my actual ending.
But what I was getting at with the whole like sitting away thing, are you gonna sit there and procrastinate with this person who's your friend, as far
As
as
the
like,
Mongolians are coming.
yeah, not trying, yeah, as the Mongolian armies running up towards you, or you're gonna sit there and try to procrastinate and talk sense into him, or just, you know what, you're being an idiot, you attacked me,
I'm
and
not gonna die because you're idiocy.
yeah, and just
Shame on
kill
your
her.
family.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that'd be interesting. I don't know if they'll do it, but I definitely think the concept behind that is interesting.
Yeah, that's all I was gonna say.
Alright, but that's why we are excited for Ghost of Tsushima, and I can't wait till it comes out. I mean, it's going to be brilliant. It's going to. What I really hope it does is kind of another type of game from PlayStation that once again redefines storytelling. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But that's it for our video today. Make sure if you enjoyed the video, you head by the like button. Make sure you subscribe to our channel for more video game content. And make sure you comment down below and let us know what video game you want to see us talk about next. So this is nerdygymbros, signing off.